What's good, guys? It's Zigzag here. Welcome back to another Geoguessr video. So unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know about Boky's 24,950 world record on the 10 seconds NMPZ format. That score is so good that you have to be an average of 3.7 kilometers away each round to equal him. It is just absurd, absurd, absurd. But getting second place is nowhere near as difficult. In fact, to get second place, all you need is 24,750, so a whole 200 points less than Boky. But that's what we're chasing. Anything above 24,600 today. I mean, I've been very close recently. I've had some really nice games. So let's just head into here, do a bunch of attempts. Guys, give the video a like if you're enjoying my channel. Would really appreciate it. Also sub if you're considering that as well. And the first one here is going to be somewhere around here, I would assume, in the Kuching area, I want to say. And it was Cebu there. So already a good score. Like, no doubt that's not a bad score. But unfortunately, we want 4,900 each round at least. And you know, it's a tough task, but it is definitely doable. Let's see, first one here. So this one should be somewhere in Lesotho. Definitely probably around the capital Maseru, which is just a perfect start, although it could be other places as well. And it was actually in the next big town, Buta up there. Yeah, it's not a good enough score, unfortunately. Clicking Maseru there is probably still something I'd do in hindsight, just because, you know, it is the bigger metro area, but yeah, I can see it. Next one here, probably gonna go for a similar logic where I'll just go Taipei because it's kind of likely. And this time we are good enough. 25 kilometers away isn't, like, already disqualifies us from the world record, by the way, but it is good enough. Next one here, north to south in Botswana. I thought of Palapia area here. This kind of area seems decent to me, and it was instead all the way over there. So you do get overcast coverage there, which we did have, but I just thought it was way too urban to be out there, and I guess it was like one of the only towns, so no good. Next one here, double yellow, is probably going to be somewhere in Canada. I would like say this kind of area here could work. It was indeed in BC, but all the way south there. I mean, a lot of these rounds, if you get a bigger country like Canada, it's honestly not even worth trying. But on a YouTube video, I'm happy to. If I was playing solo, I'd probably just reset. Next one here, very neutral vibes here, somewhere in the center of Mexico, I would assume. And it is indeed in the center there. Again, Mexico's a country I probably would just skip basically every time, because unless you're like in like Yucatan or something, then yeah, it's very hard to get close. Again here, this is probably a bit of a reset round, probably like try Wisconsin, Minnesota, and it was actually Alberta there, northern Alberta, so definitely a difficult round. But let's head through here again, guys. When you get the right seed in this, it is just so gratifying. You just have to grind until you get that. This one felt like Maine to me, maybe Maine, New York border. Was actually New Hampshire there. Good guess, but of course, nowhere near close enough. And you really do want a stretch of like a bunch of small countries in a row. Left-hand drive here, big highway. Would say this was going to be somewhere in Malaysia, maybe like one of these highways entering to Kuala Lumpur. It was entering Ipoh there instead, so it was always going to be a difficult round. I think it's difficult. Yeah, you kind of have to just hedge near the biggest cities a lot of the time in this mode. Next one here, double yellows. I think this is actually the US, but it kind of reminded me of Latin America, so I'm kind of confused here. Maybe I'll try New Mexico or something like that for that reason. It was actually in Nevada there. Definitely had mixed vibes that round. Okay, just waiting for that right seed to start. This is a bit green, and I would say for that reason that we're going to be northwest here. Maybe on this road or something like that. And it was that road. Very nice. Okay, so you get these two northern roads which look quite like Sahara Desert, but this one's much drier than this one. So obviously perfect start there. We actually have to be closer each round to get the world record, which is just crazy. That's not even close enough. Do you guys start to comprehend how sick Boky's world record is? Just nuts. But let's see what's next round. It's going to be Japan. I think when you get this kind of round, it's pretty mandatory to click somewhere in Shikoku here. Hope for the best. And it was just over in Kyushu there. Did have a bit of a tropical vibe, so I could have gone for that, but honestly, like those kind of forested rounds, it's definitely tempting to always go where I went. Next one here is, I think, actually Indonesia. We'll play this seed out just because I want to see what was going to happen. But that was actually somewhere in the Philippines, so it was not an easy round there, actually, at all. I thought it was an Indonesian light that we saw in front of us. Anyway, next one here is Brazil. We can just slam it in, maybe like Sao Paulo or something like that. Actually, it was in Argentina there, so if we had some Argentinian meta, probably could have gotten a pretty good score. Next one here is going to be somewhere in Denmark. I think it kind of feels a bit like Zealand, so I'll try it out. Was actually Jutland instead. That's okay. Next one here looks like we have like Croatian poles here, and this feels a lot like Serbia, so I'm literally clicking like all the way over here. And it was much further in towards the center of the country. I mean, that just felt pure Serbia, so I think I click there every time, although maybe there were too many trees. Next one here, we have a red roof. Honestly, the landscape fits for it as well. I'm going Hiroshima here, because you get lots of red roofs around there, so let's see if we're right. It was indeed Shimane there, so not too far away. Pretty good guess. The red roofs definitely are more common there, but obviously they do go outside the prefecture. There we go. Okay, so heading through to the next one here. This feels like South France or Western France architecture to me. Might just click Nantes here, actually. And it was Nantes area there. I've been doing some French practice, and that's very gratifying to get that correct. Even still, we're very close, and we even got the right subdivision there, but it is true that we are not particularly on a good score here compared to what we need to be. We're just right on the edge. Next one here, it's going to be like central. I don't really see any good evidence other than to go like Pahang Central here, and it was actually in Johor there. Definitely difficult because I didn't see like any typical Johor meta on the poll, but obviously it's not that helpful, that kind of meta. Next one here is Nigeria. Feels kind of southwestern here. We're going to click Ife. I don't really know where it would be. Just one of the next cities over. Again, not a bad guess. That's kind of the theme. You get lots of like 4.6, 4.7k scores, which are good, but of course not good enough. This one feels like this kind of area to me. Well, it's just a little further north towards Kristiansund there. So that's a fine guess, but yeah, obviously nothing too crazy. Next one here, US. It's a bit of a reset round, but I think we'll try Ohio here. Why not? Let's go in Cambridge, Ohio, and it was actually in the DMV area there. Wonder if I really thought about that one. If we had like infinite time, if we could have gotten it. I wonder. Next one here, Maranhão style of palms here. So I think it's kind of obligatory to click Maranhão here, but we could see something else. It was actually just over in Pará, which as another place, it probably was my second choice, but ultimately those palms are very, very common in Maranhão. Next one here is good. We have like a Rome tree here. That's interesting to me, but it's so flat that I would still probably click like Rovigo or something like that. Wasn't quite close enough. Next one here going to be in Senegal. We're kind of going east-west here. Could be this road here. Maybe this, I don't know. Was that road? And we should have picked a stretch that was a bit more evenly east-west, because that was like a super east-west round. And honestly, in these, if you want the top score on this, you need to be really good at reading road angle, which I'm not necessarily, so it is like a bit of a bummer in that way. Next one here, I was thinking of going more eastern just because it's a bit rural. We'll try it. Was a good guess there. Not quite enough points, but definitely decent. Should have just clicked middle. Next one here felt like Australia, but something's wrong here, guys. This is California instead. I guess it must be. And we're not going to be able to click in time, unfortunately. That was actually a wine region outside of Boise, though, so that's a really interesting round. Didn't really realize that they would grow so many grapes there, but very interesting one. Next one here, typical, like, Norwegian architecture, I would say. Let's try in Kristiansund this time instead of Kristiansund. And it was in Fredrikstad instead. Obviously, dropping 500 points there will not do. We need many more points. I hope the round explanations are okay, because obviously it's been a lot of resets. We haven't been very lucky with rounds yet tonight. I got super lucky with rounds the other day. Had lots of world record type seeds, but unfortunately wasn't able to convert. That, again, is not a bad score. It's a very similar score to what I got on my first world record. But I only like to attempt when I'm at least somewhat close to Boky. Otherwise, I just don't see it as like particularly having much of a point. This one we have Generation 3. I'm going to click over here. It was instead over here. But Generation 3 definitely is most common around Trondheim in Norway. It's a country where you don't see too much Generation 3, so definitely helps out to know. Next one here can be somewhere in the north of Chile here. I don't really know what's the best. Probably not this road. Yeah. It felt like it was going to be a more minor road just because it was Generation 3, whereas I think even in the north of Chile, these days mostly, the bigger ones would be in Generation 4. This one is near Eswatini in South Africa with these tree plantations. I will click literally just like right next to it and see. And it was a good guess. Yeah, it's literally on the border. It's a good enough guess just because it's a nice looking guess that I'll continue here. Next one here is New Zealand. Dirt road plus this vegetation and everything. Think you click in Northland here. Let's just give it a go. And it was Northland. Okay, another nice guess there. So starting nicely here. Next one here, Chile again. Vibes. Probably near Puerto Montt here, I would say. Just going to click near Puerto, maybe on the island here, actually. Ah, that was way further north than I thought. Just something about the fact that we were between some pretty significant mountains there, I guess, made it feel further south. Let's see what we would have had here. Now, is this Slovenia or the US? I think it is actually... I'm not even sure about Slovenia anymore, though. That was the US, that's why. Yeah, it didn't feel quite right, but when you have like a narrow road like that, you definitely think more of Europe than of the US anyway. I think even though this has been a bit of an average video so far, in some ways, like the guesses haven't been crazy, I think it really does go to show how insane Boky's world record is. It just really does, like, put a fine point on what an insane world record that is. It took him a lot of seeds. I know he was practicing that for a long time, but just the fact that I'm always too far on every single guess so far. I think only one guess in this entire video so far has been good enough to make up 1 out of the 5 rounds. So it really is just insane. And again, Brazil, like there's really no point. Like I consider myself a decent Brazil player. There is no point in trying on Brazil because it's just too huge of a country. White road lines here. I actually didn't work out what country we're in. Is it Tunisia? No, it's actually Chile. That was my first thought, but it was so deserty, yet we had a lot of vegetation, which Atacama normally doesn't have much vegetation there, so I was not really thinking it. Next one here, gonna try this peninsula. Actually pretty close there. Good guess, was just on the edge of Lofoten, but obviously not quite close enough there. Take a shot every time I say that, guys, but it really goes to stand. This is North Thailand, I would say, with this kind of style of bridge. Feels like it's right on the border with like Myanmar to me, so not really sure if we're gonna find an appropriate border crossing here. Let's just go there. Was in Tuk, so not a bad call out, but instead it was just a big bridge on like a lake or something, so makes sense, I guess. Next one here, Poland. Kind of gave me a Baltic vibe. I'll try here. It was decently Baltic adjacent, but nothing to write home about. Unfortunately, Poland on this mode is also another pointless country, basically. Next one here is Nigeria. I don't really think of anything better than Abuja, so I'll just try that here. And it was actually Accra. Wow, I was really convinced that was Nigeria. Okay, starting off on Malta here. I like the look of that. We got South Ocean. I think I'm just going to hedge between here because it kind of looks like both islands. Maybe this area here could work. Geoguessr actually with a south coast. That really makes sense, but still a good score. Next one here is going to be somewhere in Portugal. And could it be Spain? I don't know. Could actually be Spain here instead. I'll try here instead. Good switch. Not a bad score. Let's just continue this one out for fun. Is that a Kabla? Not really. Like, we have very red soil here, plus the oil palms. Would just say, like, Pahang or something worked decently here. Was actually just in Johor. Ooh, what's going on here? Is this Réunion Island or what? Or is it just Indonesia? I guess I'll try Réunion. I'm not convinced that it's there. And it was just Indonesia, Bali. Actually, 2 islands with fairly similar vibes, even though they're so far apart in latitude. This is Maranhão Palms again. Let's see if we're second time lucky here, clicking in the middle. And yeah, Maranhão. Look, guys, we get the right state. Not only that, kind of the right side of the state. And we drop over 500 points, which is just, it's just so many more than we can afford. It's crazy. Let's just click Juliaca Puno area. This was actually the La Paz side. Whoops. Yeah, definitely more common to get that green stuff on the La Paz side, to be fair. Next one here. Oh my gosh, guys. What do you even do? Too many big countries in this game. Yeah, I mean, Turkey, yeah, not particularly a strong suit of mine. Definitely better than it used to be, but next one here looks like Hungary to me. We're driving right, so that would make sense. Maybe just like, I don't know, it feels weird, so I'll go near the lake here. And it was just near Romania instead. Another country where you're unlikely to get a good plonk unless it's like Budapest or something pretty memorable. This feels like maybe Argentina. I actually don't know the country here. I think the trees feel argy enough, so I'll click in like this area here. That was a good guess. We'll continue on just because it's a nice one. Here we have a smudge. That's interesting. Don't think it really means anything to me, but it kind of looked like Tumen or Kurgan or something like that. So we'll give it a go here. And it was instead over here. Ooh, this is nice looking. Hong Kong taxis. It's downtown. Let's just get in the map here, get our marker down. So I would say when it's this, like, dense, you should be like on this road or something, right? Okay, just 2.7 kilometers away. This, for the first time, we're actually on pace for the world record here. Let's see what round number 2 is. Goodness, guys. This is Mexico, so wish me luck. We have decent sized hills. We should pick a city here. Torreon, Saltillo, Augustorion, was actually here. If we clicked on this city here, we would have still been too far away. So that just goes to show how brutal these big countries are. But I did like the look of that Hong Kong. Let's have some more of that. Let's get some boosted seeds here. This is Turkey, although it almost felt like Albania. I'm gonna try Albania here. It's Turkey, but I wanted to try Albania. Yeah, that's a very Albanian looking Turkey, but I just, you know, the thought of clicking on a big country in this is just, it's just not pleasant. Here we have some Botswana action. It kind of looks like the Northwest Road, so I'll give it a go here, but not really convinced, to be honest. Yeah, not at all. Unfortunate. Normally on that road that I clicked there, you would have like power lines running along the west side, so yeah, it was not really a good guess anyway. This one, I mean, let's go for a crazy guess here, guys. Let's go in Naga. And yeah, I mean, yeah, Philippines moment, guys. What can you do? Like, it's been one of the most demoralizing episodes because I just feel like we haven't got the rounds for it. Like, this one's gettable. Should be somewhere nearby to Montevideo. I feel like nearby to Montevideo just always has this kind of very densely vegetated vibe. And we weren't too far there, indeed. Like, definitely just has, like, a bunch of different species as well, which is something I've noticed, which makes it cool. Next one here, is it Chile or Australia? Can't really tell. I think it would be Chile, in which case maybe near Concepcion with the forest. We'll try it. Yeah, it was Colombia. Okay. Sometimes actually those two countries do get confused because they both have a lot of grey gravel roads, which look similar. Gosh, what do I even do here, guys? Yeah, Spain. I mean, Spain's a fun country to reach and guess, but ultimately I don't really have the best vibe on there. This is Croatia, and I think it's a bit further north here. It kind of feels like maybe this kind of area here. I'll try this peninsula, actually. Oh, it was. Okay, that was maybe the guess of the video, to be honest. I could have clicked somewhere where we could see the water, but that was maybe the guess of the video. Just like, Croatia's a fairly big country, big coastline. That was a nice guess. Okay, next one here, Roros, and I've had this round before. Roros was around here, and Stuagal was, I feel like it was like this direction, no? Oh yeah, it is. Go there. Ooh, glad we didn't click off there. That's another nice guess. So that was the Sturdal was over there, and I was trying to click further this direction, still putting us outside of world record contention just with almost this guess alone, but a good guess nonetheless. Next one here, gonna be somewhere in Spain, or is it Istanbul? I have no idea, but I'm trying Istanbul here. It could be Istanbul. Sheesh. Okay, so we had like the water tanks on the roofs and everything. That's very Turkish, but this is just like one of those really like touristy towns. It looks like Istanbul in a way because of how many hotels and stuff we had, but just not to be. Okay, so let's see what we get next. This one was going to be a fairly easy Phnom Penh plonk here, so that's unfortunate. I think I would just go north of the capital here. Ooh, no. It was all the way up there, so this was a dead seed to begin with, because I would have done the same thing, even on a really terrific pace. And this one is a fairly easy Alps kind of vibe here, so we go like that. And yeah, that would have been good enough to maybe clinch the like second place or something, but 22.9 is all we can manage for today's episode. I mean, look, if we had a plonked really close here, and really close here, then yeah, it could have been nice, but unfortunately, we're not Boky, guys, so that's just not how it works for us. So, guys, thank you very much for watching the video all the way to the end. Sorry that the attempts were not as good today as they could have been, but to be honest, we were pretty seed dead. I don't think any of those seeds were actually going to result in anything too good. So, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Till next time, and goodbye.